is Ryan from the Stitch Drop podcast, which really I should probably be calling Stitch Drop quarterly by now, right? It's been quite some time. Today is March 18th. Happy post St. Patrick's Day. I hope you're not all nursing some type of head malady this morning. I actually did not do anything terribly spectacular. I sat and knit for most, if not all, of the day. So, yeah, I'm not one to go out and bar crawl. Every once in a while, I guess, but I like to do it on like a Tuesday when nobody else is there. You know how it is. So anyway, if you're a returning viewer, thank you for coming back, and if you're new, welcome. I am mostly a knitter, sometimes spinner, crocheter, cross stitcher. So this is a crafty podcast, and basically I'm going to talk about whatever it is I feel like making at the time. Today it's going to be mostly knitting, and because it's been so long, I'm not going to try to go into like a deep dive of all of the things that I've missed out on telling you guys about, but I'm going to try to kind of give you the highlights. I think last time I talked to you was September. September? Really? And since then, so many things have happened. For instance, Rhinebeck. Hello. I went for the whole weekend this year. We got an Airbnb with my mother and a couple of my knitty friends, Sarah and Annie. Hello. And we ended up staying in this cute little cabin place. Like, it was really awesome. And we went for all of the pre-Rhinebeck activities, which were amazing. And then also Rhinebeck proper. And let me tell you, it was crazy this year. I've been a couple of times before. I hear that there were record-breaking numbers of people this year, and I'm not even an antisocial person, and I had a breakdown halfway through. Like toddler meltdown because I was so overwhelmed and overstimulated. So kind of a crazy trip. But I also met Nathan Taylor. Took his does he call it demystifying double knitting? His intro to double knitting class, essentially. And we all took it together, and it was kind of a blast. It was really excited. Yeah, he is just as nice and bubbly and amazing in real person as he is in his own living room. A real genuine guy. It was an absolute blast. I saw so many people. I mean, I went to Needles Up, and I saw, Sue and Chelsea, and I'm not going to be able to think of everybody. I met so many people. I saw so many people, podcasters, dyers. I mean, it was amazing. They had a bagpiper, and actually I spent a lot of time talking to the bagpiper, who was actually really nice. I don't think I caught her name, but it was amazing. I think we're going to try to do it again next year and get an Airbnb and stay in a place, go for the whole weekend. So very cool. Massive yarn acquisition. So here's the deal. I told myself that this year, 2018, I was only going to knit from stash. I was going to build up said stash, and then I would be able to knit whatever the heck I wanted, because I should already technically have all of the yarn for it. That's going to be a yes and a no. I've been pretty good about my yarn diet. I only broke it once so far, and I will show you that later. Thanks, Corolla. But I went a little crazy last year and built up my stash hugely, like bigly. I hate that that's a word now. So you might have noticed since September, I think you could have seen this part. This is stocked full. There's yarn everywhere in here, and fiber, because one of my goals is I wanted to spin more than I usually do. Make sure the husband's alive over there, because I heard a big bang. I think he's okay. So I built up my fiber stash in hopes that I will be spinning some more this year, and we'll see how that goes. The biggest thing that's taking over the beginning of my 2018 is my capstone project for the Expert Knitter program. I am at the end. I have reached the top of that mountain, and it's just the summit left to climb. So I'm working away at that, but I have bitten off quite a large hunk of meat there. It's taking all of my focus and all of my time. So We'll see how much time I have left to knit down this stash after that. Yeah, we'll get to that later. After Rhinebeck, let's see. I actually wrote myself show notes this week. What? Because I knew I was going to have so many things to talk about and I wasn't going to want to spend the whole time umming and ahhing. Let's see. I know I wanted to call some certain stuff out. I know there was the double knitting class. I mean, Rhinebeck happened so long ago, I kind of missed the boat on having a Rhinebeck roundup. New England Sheep and Wool Festival at the Big E Fairgrounds. Again, my favorite venue. This is my favorite fiber festival, partly because it's in my backyard and partly because I love the vibe of it. It's so laid back. It's post Rhinebeck. It's one of the last fiber festivals of the year. So while it is still somewhat busy, I think everybody's kind of done it. And so everyone can just relax and pet the animals and sniff the wool and buy a bunch of stuff. And everybody's just very low energy at that point. And I really, really enjoy that. I did buy a whole bunch of stuff from a dyer that I do like called Molly Girl. She had some really, really interesting fibers and different fiber mixes and like cellulose and sea kelp and milk fiber. I'm like weird stuff. And I bought like a skein of everything because I wanted to try it all. Really fantastic colors. But it seems that I just found out today, the other day, something like that. She's going to try to focus on her, what do you call that? Wholesale dyeing, the stuff that she's sending to stores because she is vending through actual retail outlets now, instead of focusing on her website. And I don't know if she's going to continue to do the craft circuit. So if you're interested, I'm going to have her website down below and you can go check it out. She's trying to sell off everything off of her website so that she can focus on that. So there's still some stuff left if you want to go check it out. Go check that out. Maybe I can pull you a sample. There's one. It's a pretty one too. Excuse me. This is Bossa Nova Sport on the colorway Imagine. And let me just make sure I can see if this is focusing and if the colorway looks good. Yes. Oh yes. Look at that. Isn't that awesome? It's so kind of, I don't know, I felt like it was a little unexpected and very almost androgynous color palette. I kind of love it. It's amazing. This is made out of 62.5% Superwash Merino, 25% Llama, and 12.5% Sea Cell. Sea Cell. This is what I'm talking about. Interesting fibers, and it's really smooth. It's soft. It's almost a little fuzzy. It's got that soft llama feel, but the Sea Cell almost like, I want to say it almost makes it feel a little silky or almost even like bamboo. There's just got this interesting quality about it, and it's not hard at all. It's very soft, but it's very smooth and almost cool to the touch. I really kind of love it, and I can't wait to knit something up with it. But so, Molly Girl, if you want to try to get it off of her website, go now. I checked this morning, there's not much left. So let's see. After New England Fiber Festival, oh, my Vlogmas fail. That's right. I tried to do Vlogmas. It helped. I wasn't such a Grinch for Christmas this year like I usually am, so that was really fantastic, and I had a lot of fun doing it, but I was not prepared. It was very obvious it was my first year. I think it was actually really bad. And then I kind of dumped it the week of Christmas. We were traveling to go see my in-laws for Christmas. So things got a little crazy as it got closer to the holiday. There was a lot of visiting, there was a lot of traveling, and even past Christmas. The festivities continued with my family once we got home. I was not prepared, and it was a little too much to take on while I was doing all of that. So next year I kind of want to do it, but if I do and we're traveling again, I will definitely be better prepared. I did not get to show off the last day, which was a full bat, and I happen to have it right here. So excuse the crinkle crinkle. I have so much fiber around here, I can't reach half of anything that I want to look at. It came in a cute little box, labeled number 15. Everything was wrapped so beautifully. Now this was randomly delicious blend of everything. And that's literally what it says, if you can read that. So it's a whole bunch of stuff. It's a 3-ounce bat, so there's quite a bit there. Look at this. See if I can get the colors. It's graying out, but you can see a little at the top. There's a lot of blue, a lot of purple. There's some brown in there, white, gray. Oh, it's got my name written all over it. It kind of reminds me of a pair of sneakers I had back in like the early 80s, or late 80s? Late 80s. Some greens, a little bit of nubs of things in there. That's awesome. So I'm trying to decide what I'm going to do with all of this. I have spun up, I think, only the first day's worth of fiber. So I have like 24 days worth of fiber left. It's a lot of fiber. It's something like 20, let's see, if it was an ounce of fiber a day, that's 25. The last one was 3 ounces. So it's going to be like 27 ounces of fiber. I don't know. Can I get a sweater out of that? I don't know. So I'm thinking about spinning it all, maybe not together, but I don't know, maybe I will. Maybe I'll spin it all together and Navajo ply it and then see if I can get a garment out of it. I don't know. But I definitely want to try to use it all in one project. It's going to be like the craziest, most amazing color palette. It's going to be all over the charts. Holy crap. Okay. So, happy Christmas. Upcoming events. I think that's all I have left. Yes. I didn't do anything special in January. I started my yarn diet, which I broke. And again, I'll tell you about that in a minute, but probably going to break it again because Stitches United is now next weekend. Next weekend. If you're planning on going, I'm probably going Sunday. Not so sure about that now. Definitely only going Saturday or Sunday. I'm not taking any classes this year. I didn't really see anything this time that really spoke to me. Definitely nothing that I would be able to practice because of the capstone that's going on. So as soon as I learned it, I might forget it. So that kind of negates the point of taking the class. So I don't think I'm going to take anything. I'll probably show up for the marketplace. I wanted to go on Sunday. Maybe because Gabby's going to be there. And I have a tendency to want to bump into Gabby. I feel like I'm turning into a stalker. It feels so weird. But I was thinking about that. Then I was on Instagram and saw that Gabby, who is Gabagales, is having a open studio on Friday and Saturday. So I think I'm going to go to that. Sarah's coming up from New York. We're going to make a day of it. So I think we're going to do that on Saturday. I don't know if we're going to go to Stitches United on Saturday and do it all in one day, or if we're going to go on Sunday. That seems like it would be better because I'm really bad at pacing myself. And I can't imagine I'm going to go and leave without buying anything. It's never happened before. It could be a first time for everything, but it's never happened before. We'll see. Also, if you're in the area and you're planning to go, if you go into Web's website, yarn.com, they've got a 50% off coupon on there for entry to the marketplace. So I'm only going to the marketplace this year. And if you're taking classes, you already get entry into the marketplace. But if you want to go get the coupon, 50% off, go do it. And maybe I'll see you there. Haha. All right. So let's get to the actual knitting now, right? That wasn't so bad. It hasn't taken so long. How long I go? 15 minutes? 15 minutes. That's not bad. So, finished object number 1. What do I want to show you first? Maybe it will be my Streymoy cardigan. Yes, I finished it. It's huge. Let's see if I can even get it all in one shot. Well, it doesn't look so good when it's not buttoned up. And it's also got raglan sleeves, so I'm kind of dropping it here, but this is my Streymoy cardigan. Look at those floats. Aren't they so beautiful? I never get sick of looking at that, ever. Maybe I'll put it on for you. Hold on. That's better. costume change. So here's my Streymoy. I do love it. What happened is I finally finished it out of necessity because I don't have a winter coat right now. And we had a couple weeks that were sub-zero temperatures. Sub-zero. That doesn't happen so often where we are. So I really desperately needed a coat. And I was looking at this and thinking, it's double thick because of the stranded knitting and it's almost done. All I have to do is pull out and redo the button band. So that's what I did. And it's done. And it fits. And it's wonderful. Except for this. I knit the size required for my bust measurement, which isn't even really my bust measurement. Really, I have a big belly, so I had to make it big enough to fit my torso, but I didn't really look at the overall garment measurements, which I probably should have done, but I was thinking, whatever, like, I'm just doing it for a class. It's fine. I wasn't sure if I was going to wear it, honestly, but then it got so cold, and I did start wearing it. It is warm enough to keep the cold out, sub-zero temperatures out, and it's fluffy, and it's soft, and it's thick, and it's awesome, and I love it so much more than I thought I was going to. I did get the buttons at Joann's. I think they're recycled paper, which is really crazy. They're kind of, I don't know if I can get a good close-up. They look like they're felted, and they've got a little bit of a sheen on them. They're very soft. It almost looks like they're made out of like compressed fiber or something, but it's recycled paper that's been pressed into a button, which I thought was really cool. And the color doesn't detract from the rest of the color here. I used Cascade Eco wool. That's the gray. Eco wool is made with a minimum of chemicals and, you know, sustainable type practices. It's supposed to be a really natural wool. They do also have Eco Plus, which is the green, which they do dye actual colors, but the Eco is only natural colors. So I did decide to use both so I could get the color I wanted. The skeins, their yield is huge. I don't have a lot of blue left. I have this tiny little nub of blue left, but I have almost a whole skein of the gray, and it's almost as big as my head. I mean, we're talking, I think it was like 600 plus yards per skein, and this is for a bulky weight yarn. You just don't find that. It was very reasonably priced. I feel like, and don't quote me on this, I feel like I paid a little over $13 a skein for it, but I don't quite remember. I started this last January, so January of 2017. So I don't know anymore, but I adore it, and it came out wonderfully. So, finished object number 1. Finished object number 2. Should probably also try on for you, so hold on a second. So, finished object number 2. This is my sweater construction sweater. The sweater from my sweater construction class. That's a little better. It is made out of Rowan Superwash wool, was it pure wool Superwash DK in the color dust, and then the dust was over dyed in one of my dyeing classes to make the blue. I actually ran out of the dust color, so I did get the contrasting color for the collar, the contrasting color for the cuffs. I was worried I was going to run out, so I purposely designed this so that there is a garter stitch border, and I don't know if you can see it because of the color. I made a garter stitch border where the dust touches the dark blue. And I don't know that you can see it. You probably can't see it, but it does go along the neckline. I could have planned that out a little bit better too. It's really awkward, and I don't know that I'll be able to express it on the camera, but it was meant to be a little shorter than I usually like. I usually make tunic length sweaters. I figured I'm always going to be wearing this with probably a skirt, and it's got this super deep neckline, so I'd be wearing it with a camisole, be a little more dressed up for work. It's exactly what I had in my head. It's exactly what I intended. The measurements could have been a little better. Obviously not my best design garment, but that's okay. I still like it. I love the color. The border came out okay. Everything kind of came out the way it needed to. I planned for, you know, just in case I ran out of the dust. So we're good. The problems, the neckline flops around a little. So for such a deep neckline, I probably should have brought the shoulders in maybe another inch or two to make it more stable so it doesn't move around so much. I intended to have a off balanced button placard, but as you can see, I have inadvertently placed a button in a place where you should never place a button. That's kind of, it's like a design no-no, but it doesn't really bother me, so I left it. It took a lot of pre-planning. You got to decide where that is, like here, so that I could separate the placards, like the fronts and the sweater, before I got to the collar. So in order to fix that, I would have had to go all the way back down to like below the bust line. I just wasn't into doing that. I think everybody in the class realized that when they started binding off stitches for the collar, they were all doing it. It felt like the collars were too low. So everybody went a little bit higher, and then the collars weren't as low as they wanted them. Even mine, it's about as low as I wanted it, but it could have gone a little lower. It also rides up, I think, because of the top part of the collar. So that makes it a little bit awkward. But that's okay. So it's kind of like trust your instincts in that department. I could have made the collar, the button placard longer, and I think that's where it happened. That's where I realized that I was starting the button placard like down here, and I thought that can't possibly be right. And so I held off and made it at the last minute. So instead of having a higher collar line like everybody else in the class did, I had a much shorter button placard than I had originally intended. So I kind of need to trust my instincts there a little bit. Other than that, I mean, it fits perfectly. It feels, you know, form-fitting in all the right places and not form-fitting in all the right places. I like the 3/4 sleeves. That's kind of my preference. So I'm really pleased with how it came out. One last look before I put it away. Okay, last costume change, hopefully. The next couple of finished objects, I kind of have to paste pictures in here because they were Christmas presents, so they're long gone at this point. I haven't gotten any pictures from the owners, but here's the pencil and paper socks with the yarn from Yarn Enabler that I made for my sister. I can reveal that now, who is a teacher. So I thought she'd get a kick out of that, and I was right. She really thought that was cool. So they came out pretty good. The first time I made the paper sock, I made it a little too short, so I did have to go back and unravel the cuff and make it a little bit longer so that it would be on par with the pencil. But it worked out okay. The yarn itself was a little more splitty than the pencil, and I don't know why that was. That was a little weird. And it had little, almost like tan flecks on the white parts of the paper, which kind of made it look like recycled paper. I don't know. It was interesting, but it came out really great. One thing that I did not realize until I got the yarn is that only the half and half sets that come with one sock of pencil and one sock of paper have the red stripe on top of the paper. Did not realize that the full skein did not come with it. It was a little disappointing, honestly. The picture had it on there, so it kind of felt like it should have probably been on there, but it was okay. I got it. I got them done in time for Christmas, and the owner really appreciates them, so they came out well. Second finished object, well, technically the fourth, I guess, is a pair of socks that I made for my stepfather here, my pops. They are Paton's Croy, what do they call them? I want to say it's Studio FX? Socks FX. I knew it was an S. Socks FX in the Clover colorway. Now I have a pair of these exactly, well, almost exactly the same. I'm showing you the picture of mine because I forgot to take a picture of his. I think I finished them right before Christmas. So I didn't have a lot of time. And unfortunately, Pops was sick for Christmas. He had that monster flu that was going around and was basically bedbound for like a week. It was so bad. So he completely missed Christmas. I didn't get to see him open them. I'm a little sad about that. But I love this yarn. Like I said, I made one before. I had originally bought it for a Sticks Plus Twine knit along. He was doing a movie themed knit along, and it had reminded me of the Robin Williams movie. What's the name? What Dreams May Come. That's what it was. I loved that movie. And it looked really luscious and vegetative, and I don't know. I really loved it. I had bought the yarn ahead of time and then misplaced it. So I had bought 2 more skeins of the same yarn. Each skein is really only enough to make 1 sock, and with as long as my feet are, it's kind of a shorter sock too. So if you're going to buy some, you need 2 skeins. Just keep that in mind. But it's really heavy yarn. It's 4 ply in a sock weight, a heavy sock weight. And each of the plies is a slowly color changing color, and they marl because they don't change at necessarily the same rate or in the same color. So it's got this really interesting effect. I really like them. They're what I like to call ice fishing socks. They're nice and heavy and warm, and the kind of thing that you would want to wear in your boots if you're going to be outside all day in the winter. So I thought he'd appreciate those. Gary actually picked it out based on the color, because I kind of just let him go crazy and said, go pick something. What should I make his socks out of? And he came back with that, and I was like, perfect. So I can't imagine that they weren't appreciated by the recipient, because he is probably the most knit-worthy person I know. He gets so excited over a pair of socks. I love him for it. So those are my finished objects. Now we're going to move into works in progress. And I'm only showing you these first 2 because I've made a little bit of progress. Not a lot. Well, one of them actually. Okay, never mind. Whatever. Let me just get started. I'm not working on this actively, but I did show it last time. This is my Over My Cold Dead Demon Unicorn pullover raglan, I guess I want to say. This is the, I always get it wrong, I think it's the Breathing Space sweater by Veera Valimaki. It's in the show notes. I'm gonna, as much as I love those little titles I was doing at the bottom, the editing is taking me so long. It's part of the reason I don't like podcasting so often. So I'm trying to do it without it. If you've got any feedback about that, please feel free to leave it below, and we'll see how it goes. Because I really do like them. It's just so much work. I don't know that it's worth it. So let me know how you feel. But I also always get the name of the sweater wrong, so I'm pretty sure it's Breathing Space. It's a raglan with stripes across the top, and then it's got stripes on a bias down at the bottom with an uneven hem. Because the colorways that I'm using, Over My Cold Dead Heart, and then Demon Unicorn is like a rainbow. Let's see if I can pull it out. This is the Demon Unicorn. Isn't that gorge? I know, I'm using like really horrible half words, but it's so beautiful. And this one is Over My Cold Dead Heart. Or like, I'm sorry, Like My Cold Dead Heart. I apologize. All purples and pinks and mauves and reds and grays. So I decided to mix the 2 of them together, and this is kind of how it's coming out. And it's hard to tell because I've started it's all made with like short rows. So I think this is the best way to show. Yeah. See, I've started the stripes on the bias over here, so it's hard to see. But I think the colors are so similar. It's almost having a, I don't know, it has the effect of giving you like the idea of stripes without actually seeing the stripes. And I can't decide how I feel about the pooling. It does it on the back too. There are areas where it seems like the yellow is just kind of coming out in the same spot. And I'm sure that's going to change as the stripes on the bias keep going, but I think I like it. It's not coming out like I thought it would in my head, but I'm not disappointed with it. I really, really love it. It's super soft. I think I mentioned before I accidentally bought multiple bases in these colors. So all of the area down here that's going to stripe is all on the ginger base, the sparkly base. I'm pretty sure it's the ginger base. This is all Once Upon a Corgi yarn. And then this one is on the Marie Cutie base, which I think is Corriedale. But it's not sparkly. It's a completely different fiber. It has a completely different feel to it. I've heard that Corriedale kind of plumps up after it blacks. So I'm looking forward to see how that goes. We'll see. But I've made progress. You can see the striping now, so I thought I'd show it off. I haven't been able to work on it since Christmas, so you probably won't see it again for a little while. And I'll explain why in a few minutes. So next, I am also working on Gary's Oogie Boogie socks. The ones that I wasn't going to buy from the Legacy Fiberworks ladies, but I did because Gary wanted socks. I got movie tickets in here. Evidently, I was working on these socks when I was watching The Greatest Showman. What do you know? Can I say, Cinemark's got these new tickets, and it's just like, it's not even on very heavy paper. So people who like to keep their movie tickets, they're not good for anything. It's nothing like they used to be. It really bothers me. My friends think I'm crazy, and they think it doesn't matter, and I'm a little ridiculous, but it bothers me. Just saying. So, Oogie Boogie socks. I think I started these before Christmas because I had a little extra time. And they were intended to be a Christmas present for Gary. But I didn't get them done. I got one done, so I'll put it on the blocker and show you. I think I'm probably just... It looks like I just started increasing for the gusset. These are the Sockmatician toe-up sock pattern because it's my go-to. And here is Oogy Boogie Man. It's kind of, the lighting in here isn't fantastic. It's really cool. Yep, so it gets better when I get closer to the camera. That's pretty accurate. There's some lime greens and some pinks. There's a navy blue in there that looks almost purple. I can't decide if it's purple or blue. It's almost like a periwinkle with lots of white negative space. It's pretty awesome. I just put a basic rib. I think it's a 3x1 rib, tends to work out. On 64 stitches. Yeah, it looks like it's a little loose. You see that? I don't usually get that little gaping hole next to the gusset and heel, but those stitches are looking a little loose there. I might want to bind those up afterwards. But it's looking pretty good. So I've got one sock down, half a sock to go, but again, I haven't been able to work on these in months. So it's probably going to have to be the first project that I finish up after I'm done with what I guess I'll show you next is the capstone. Maybe I won't even show my scrap blanket. I showed my scrap blanket last time. I just started the green. I think I went around halfway with the green. I'm not making a lot of progress on that, and that's going to be like a work over the next 20 years kind of project. So maybe I won't even show you that today. I'll just get straight to the exciting thing. This is I like to call it my thesis project because that's kind of what it feels like. It's taking up all of my time. I tried to cast it on at Christmas, I think, and it just wasn't working out very well. I was doing my swatch. Because it's so complicated, I started the sweater itself and hoped that if I got a couple inches in, it would be good enough that I could just keep going and I wouldn't really need the swatch. Like my sweater would act as my swatch. It didn't work out that way, so I ended up starting over. But this is crazy. Crazy. Tell me I didn't stop in the middle of a row. Oh, I stopped in the middle of a row, so it's going to be hard for me to show you. But this is my capstone project. Yeah, that's right. It's intarsia. All of it is intarsia. What the hell was I thinking? I remember taking my color class and doing the intarsia sample because you just do like little Afghan square swatches and thinking, oh, it's really cool that I learned how to do that, but I'm never going to use that. I hope I never have to do this again. And then I decide to do this. Oh, get the bobbins out of the way and give you a good look at it. I don't know if you notice, some people have, and you can't really, it's curling a little, so you can't really see under the arm shaping. There's a little more. But those of you who are Disney files will know that this is Belle's castle from Beauty and the Beast. This image is, I've charted this from an image of the stained glass window that shows the castle at the very beginning of the animated movie. And this is why it's taking so long and taking all of my time. It's working out really good. Do you want to see the back? Let's show you the back. So you can see how it kind of gets to be messy when there's all these ends, but I've started to tuck in the bottom, and it actually looks pretty good. And the trees, I decided to strand, so you can see, yeah, there's floats back there. It's pretty wild, absolutely crazy. And then once I'm done with this is actually the back panel of the sweater. This is not going to be what the whole sweater looks like. I picked out a really nice navy blue. I'm not going to show it to you because it's not nearly as exciting as this. I'm probably up to, I don't know, like the arm shaping area, somewhere around here. With the front of the sweater, it's just going to be navy with long sleeves, maybe even 3/4. We know I love those. Look at this, even my long sweater, I rolled them all up, so I might as well, right? Save myself some time. So I'm probably, this doesn't travel well. Let me show you. I had to buy myself a new bag again. Yeah. This is a tote from Slip Stitch Studios. They just had an inspirational theme. So I got a Bob Ross themed bag. See his cute little face there? Oh, I used to love watching The Joy of Painting. Was it Joy of Painting or something? Am I thinking The Joy of Cooking? I don't know. I used to watch it on PBS all the time after Sesame Street when I was a little kid. I used to hope that if I stayed quietly and just watched it, that nobody would change the channel, because my sister would always complain after Sesame Street was over. But, so I had to buy this new bag because it's full to like here with yarn. There are 23 different colors, 25 maybe, if you count the main color, which does not actually appear in this back panel. And I also bought some charcoal because afterwards, to make it look like a stained window, I'm going to have to go through all of this and like crochet borders around each of the each of the shapes to make it look like a stained glass window. And there's a little bit of embroidery. These are all, this gray area is all supposed to be cobblestones inside the castle. So even after I'm done knitting it, I've got quite a bit to go. I've only got a couple more inches on the shoulders, and my mentor through the program has challenged me to have that done within the next, I think it's a week and a half now. It's supposed to be 2 weeks, but not this Wednesday, but next Wednesday. And if I don't make it, like, okay, but I should definitely make it within 3 weeks. It shouldn't be a problem. And then I can work on that as I go. So what I've been doing is, because this doesn't travel so well because of all the different colors and the bobbins and the stuff, I started working on the front, and I've been working on that like at the movies, like I normally would work on a sock. I bring it to work with me and I do a couple of lines on my lunch break, if I can even get that much done. Usually it's like half a line at a time. So I'm making progress with that. The front is probably halfway there. I need to recalculate the neckline because I have a tendency to make the neckline too short, like I discussed before. This seems to be a theme. I've realized I don't, as much as boat neck sweaters look good on me, I don't like them up here. This t-shirt is loose enough, thank God, that I can kind of get away with it, but I wouldn't go any shorter than that, and even this is usually a little too tight. So I'm hoping to make down here, I think I calculated a 3-inch drop from my neckline, and I'm going to go back and redo it for 4 and hope that's good enough. I have calculated my sleeves both for full length long sleeves and for 3/4 sleeves. I am making this sweater almost entirely out of Cascade fingering, Cascade 220 fingering, which I did talk about before because I made that giant purple sweater out of it. So I also know this is going to be like a 3-season sweater. It's going to be the kind of thing that I can wear on a chilly night in the summer. I could probably wear it on a warmer day or like in the office in the winter. You could wear it through the spring and the fall. It's a very thin fabric. I'm also knitting it on a smaller needle than I did last time, so it's going to be a little denser. But it's very light. It's very flowy. I needed something with a huge color availability that also was going to be small enough to give me the detail when I did the intarsia. So I know it all makes sense in my head and it's what I needed to do, but I'm crazy. Like, all I had to do, the only requirements are that I make a sweater for my measurements that I can seam, and I have to slope the shoulders. That's it. It could be a pullover. It could be a cardigan. It can't be a raglan because you got to cut it. You know, I mean, you can strand it and steek it, but then you got to cut it and sew the sides when you normally wouldn't have to. But why? Why? So I've been working on it since December. It's March. It's due the last weekend of May. I can do it. I know I can do it. I know I'm doing good for time. It's just I really can't fart around. So this is why I haven't been working on anything else. And I won't be able to. So everybody had that Instagram thing that went on, like My Make 9 or something, where you'd pick 9 projects that you want to make in the next year. Or Ravelry also had a challenge where you can set the number of projects that you want to make within the next year, and it'll track it for you and see if you can meet your goals. And I picked something like 15 projects because I thought, well, all I really want to do is make 12 pairs of socks so I can do the box of socks. And I want to finish the projects that I have on my needles right now and maybe one more. I'm not going to make that. I haven't knit a whole pair of socks yet this year. Like, there's no way I'm going to make that. I don't know what I was thinking. Oh my God. I got to watch that. That's ridiculous. So that's my capstone. Wish me luck. Hopefully I'll be podcasting more frequently so I can give you more frequent updates, but it's not going to be very exciting. I actually I left you out for the big exciting part. Sorry. So those are my works in progress. I had mentioned I wasn't going to buy any yarn this year. And I was doing really good until the end of January. And well, let me back up a little bit. I was invited to join an international virtual knit night with a whole bunch of other podcasters, yarn dyers, and crafters from all over the world. I think there's literally somebody from every continent. I'm not sure if we have anyone from Africa yet. I don't know. I'll have to look at that. We're putting a map together. And I just met up with them yesterday. I might log in for a little while today too, because I think we're meeting until 7. And one of the dyers, Corolla, who is from Otherworldly Yarns. I actually had to look because I couldn't remember. I'm sorry. She's got this beautiful Instagram account, and she was making. I know she has like a club right now, like a year-long club going on. Some other things, I don't know, but she had posted an inspiration picture based on an illustration of the Little Mermaid, and it was beautiful, and it was kind of like a mystery, so I didn't know what the yarn looked like when I bought it, but when I got it, holy crow, I was not, no, maybe I did know what it was. I think I didn't want to know what it was, but here's, oh my God, a big beef about Instagram. If someone posts multiple pictures, they'll be like, hey, this is a mystery. If you want to be spoiled, swipe the picture. But it will reorder your posts for you, which is also a problem because they're not in chronological order. But then it will also reorder them and show you the same post again, but the next picture in the series. So if you don't want to spoil yourself on something, it's already spoiled you. Too bad for you. Instagram wants you to know what the secret looks like. What the heck, Instagram? Mark Zuckerberg. I've got such a beef with him. Ever since you pulled this Facebook crap on Instagram. Anyway, let's get to the yarn because that's what you really want to know about. Here is what I got in the mail. Oh yeah. There's that beautiful rust and purple, and it's like blues and greens, and oh my goodness, I don't regret it one bit. I just took one look at the inspiration photo and I was like, take my money. Just take it all. And I had the entire transaction done before I realized, oh crap, I said I wasn't going to buy any yarn this year. It was done. Just done. And it came with these beautiful little stitch markers. Let's see if I can... there we go. It's like fish scales. Focus, please. There we go. There's these beautiful little fish scales. It's gorgeous. This is on her Oberon Superwash sock base. I love it. Maybe this is what I'll cast on after Gary's Oogie Boogie socks are done. Because I have to have a sock at all times. But again, because of the capstone, that's not going to happen until like May, June. It makes me so sad. I love my capstone sweater and it's wonderful, but being monogamous to one project, like forcibly monogamous for months, I don't know that I've ever done that before. Ever. It's hard. I want to just cast on all the things, and I've got all these projects already started that are just like itching for my fingers. I really want to finish that breathing space sweater, but soon. I will be with you soon, my love. All right, I'm going to call it quits. This is probably like an hour now, so minimal editing. You get me full force. All my weirdness. Yeah, sorry about that. Sorry, not sorry. I'll be happy not to spend 12 hours editing this. So, yeah. Okay, I'm going to go now. Have a great week. If I don't see you, have a great month because that's kind of how it's been working. I'll try to see if I can get some footage at like Stitches or maybe Gabby's studio, open studio show. That would be really cool. I'll see what I can get for you, but enjoy. Yeah. See you later. Bye.